foremost, I just want to say thank you so much, Todd, for coming through on Talanoa Therapy Podcast. I know it's been a really crazy time of the year, and actually I wanted to have you on the show before, but it's just the timing and everything.
Oh, I know. And I reached out to you with this whole thing because of your anti-alcohol campaigning, which I really admire, by the way. And I was like, man, this is something. I don't know if you really drink Kava, but this is the only space that there's none of that nonsense, with the alcohol stuff. So we stand firmly against it. And when they try to regulate what we're doing, it's like, come on. But
yeah. Obviously it's come to my attention about what's going on out there, and then to go online and then to see some of our politicians talking about it. Yeah, so today we really just wanted to Talanoa about this new proposal about the food safety Australia New Zealand in regards consumption of Kava or Ava in Samoan. What it will mean for your business, what will it look like for you and your business? Because you being a co-founder of Four Shells Kava Lounge, and I just want to say congratulations for being a recipient for the Vaka Pacifica.
Yep. Again, that was my wife's effort. She really killed it on that one. So we won the main award. So we're really proud of that.
It's cool. Amazing to see you guys really move forward with your business, and to just reading all the awesome positive feedback. That's what we're all about, But I wanted to Talanoa about this new proposal. Let's have a Talanoa about it. What can we do about it? What is it? What is it for our people out there who don't know what's going on? And I believe you guys have till Thursday to make a submission. So that's not much time, but we're all about our people. So we're going to do our best that we can to get the message out there and trying to get as much support as we can to support you and your business and everyone that loves Ava. I mean, come on now. I grew up in Samoa, so I think every household had Ava in their house in the back room somewhere. So
that's it. It's funny. I saw one of the links on Facebook that somebody put about the law change. Somebody left the comment, said, well, they're talking about Kava. Good thing we drink Ava. Doesn't apply to us. So that's a good one.
Same thing.
I was going to say, I really appreciate you reaching out and wanting me to speak on behalf of this whole thing. And before every great Talanoa has to have an Ava.
Malo manuia. So tell us all about what happened. When did you hear about it? When you hit me up about it, I actually jumped on Instagram, and then I seen Chloe, one of the politicians, share it. And it's really awesome to see her stand behind it. I know that she's trying her best to do something from her end, but what can we do as a community, as Pacifica people who grew up with this? This is part of our tradition. Come on.
That's it. Chloe she's a regular customer here. And she's really cool, and I appreciate her support and jumping in on this. So basically what happened, I guess I'll start with Four Shells. We've been here for almost 3 years now. We never started this place to change anything about Kava, but to create a sort of a pan-Pacific space. That's it back there behind me. It's not a fake background. So we wanted to, you go across the Pacific and everyone drinks Kava in different ways. Right through to Vanuatu, they have Kava bars there. So we are inspired by the Vanuatu Nakamals. But my initial introduction to Kava was in Tonga through my in-laws. So we've been doing this thing. People come here. Some people come here and drink Kava. Some people come and buy bags of powder. Some people come and get takeaway bottles. So it was last Monday, a friend called me up, and he was like, man, this guy just sent him this link and said there's this law change proposal with Kava, and what they want to do will essentially prevent us from doing the bottled Kava. So pretty much from there, I just had to mobilize, look at all the documents that the Food Standards Australia and New Zealand put up, and really try to get my head around it. So it was issued by Food Standards Australia and New Zealand, who work together to facilitate trade between the two countries. It's much easier because we share a lot of food products, and if it had different laws completely, it'd have to be different labeling for Australia, different for New Zealand. So I get that that's why they're intertwined. Now, the law change proposal was issued on an urgent basis, which, given the time.
Sorry, can I just stop you for a minute? Oh my God, someone's just decided to do their lawns. We'll carry on. Okay, sorry.
And please excuse me if I have to stop as well. If somebody comes, if a customer comes. But so yeah, Food Standards Australia and New Zealand, FSANZ, issued the law change proposal on an urgent basis. And given the time of year, who has time to drop everything and write a proposal or a statement against the proposal? They issued it, I think, on December 12th, and I found out about it Monday, which I don't even know what the date was. So that's a big problem, because I know people and agencies that would submit statements against it, but they don't have time. So I pretty much mobilized from that, contacted key people. The key thing in the proposal, or the most problematic for us as a business, is that they dictate that I believe the wording is like Kava. Our best definition of the Kava tradition is that Kava is consumed in the place where it is prepared, which is fine. I mean, but that would prevent us from doing the bottles of Kava. Is what we have here. We have professional labeling on these things and all that. And it is a fresh made product. It's people get it, they take it home and drink it, take it to wherever they want. That's a big problem because, for one, not even looking at the business side of things, this agency is the board. If you look at the board, it's on pretty much all Palangis. A lot of people in Australia, they don't know about Kava culture. And they certainly don't know about it enough to dictate what is tradition, right? And they're looking at it through a very narrow definition of what is tradition. So I think that's the biggest problem for me, is that they are attempting to dictate what tradition is and fix that tradition into a time and space. Tradition and culture has always changed and adapted with changing times, changing situations. And by them essentially fixing it in place, they're denying people the right to change their culture and traditions as necessary for continuity. For example, when COVID-19 first started coming out and they went the initial lockdowns, a lot of Kava clubs couldn't meet anymore, right? So they moved into the online space. They had Zoom sessions. I was in some, like 40, 50 people in the one session. People would mix their own Kava at home, or they would come to us and get a bottle. Because some people, I mean, one guy told me he had like a wrist injury. He couldn't mix his own Kava even if he wanted to. So in that way, this bottled Kava, it's still traditionally made Kava. There's nothing in it but Kava and water. But this adaptation is facilitating the continuity of the culture, you know? And along with, technology, of course, like Zoom and the internet. But so that was the biggest problem to me. And there are many more as well. But structurally, that's the one that really got me. So and also looking at Kava traditions, Kava culture through this narrow lens, it excludes, for example, Ni Vanuatu people, who, if you go to Port Vila today, the way they drink Kava almost always is they will go to the nakama, that's their word for Kava bar, and they'll buy a bottle of Kava and take it somewhere else because they, in their tradition, they prefer to drink Kava somewhere surrounded by nature, trees and things. So they'll get a bottle of Kava, take it somewhere comfortable, and have some downtime, reflection time. Essentially, Food Standards Australia and New Zealand saying that that's not acceptable cultural practice. It's very, very strange from my perspective. Does that make sense?
For your mental health though, it must be so frustrating for you guys. Don't you feel like some sort of form of anxiety from this? Like, because it affects your whole mental health. And this is why it's so important to Talanoa about it, because we need to like resolve this. We need to like find a way to get through this. so that it's going to help. I mean, this is someone's livelihood as well. It's not like you can just go down the road and get a Kava mixture. It's not as easy to get it. I mean, I know some dairy sell it out here, but it's not like, it's not something like alcohol where it's everywhere.
And also this place, it's an extension of my wife's family's business. So if you can see back in the corner, the old man in the corner, that's my father-in-law. I mean, we put that up. That's one of the first things we hung on the wall in the shop. My wife's family, he pretty much paid for everyone to come over back in the 80s off of Kava money. So when I first married into the family, I grew up in Pennsylvania in the States. I never was around Kava, of course. So I was around it since 2010 all the time. I got into drinking it. But when we talked about opening a space, it was like, we should open something that is like a bridge from one culture to another, challenges these norms of like, it's got to be alcohol related socialization. It doesn't. So it's really grown into something really cool. It's beyond, it's not about me or my wife. I know it's the space. There's a lot of people of all backgrounds come here regularly, and it's grown into something really cool. So these restrictions would, for one, they prevent us from selling takeaway bottles. There was also the law change proposal stipulates something against the use of processing aids in bottling Kava. So if we were going to develop a shelf-stable version of the bottled Kava, something that we'd have packaged in a commercial facility, put a lid on it, and it's good at room temperature for, a year even, that it would prevent that from happening because you're using processing equipment. So this whole thing is weird because they're packaging it in two different ways, food standards. One is the protection of tradition, right? And then the other one is for public health and safety. Now, if somebody was going to open, like we're a registered food business here in Auckland City, we have the A grade thing from the council. If you're concerned with public health and safety, I mean, wouldn't you be embracing something like this? I mean, I never go to Whaikavas and think, what's this sanitation or whatever, but it is something that some people think about, and the government certainly thinks about it. So it's very strange. It's like they have this thing, they don't want people to drink Kava.
You know what? I had a mate whose uncle used to transport it to Australia, to the northern part of Australia, because that's where most of the indigenous people are, right? And they were so hard on them. So what they done was they banned it. They banned those people from those areas to consume Kava. So my mate's uncle used to just import it, and I know now I think it's 4 kgs, I believe, that you can take overseas.
You can take over, but it's still to this day banned in the Northern Territories.
Yeah, see, and so they enjoyed it, and so then he got caught, and then all that.
But I've heard some other stories similar. The Kava was taken over there originally by Tongan missionaries who they saw the alcohol abuse in those communities and were like, we've got to have an alternative. Now, seems to me like those communities were living just fine in perfect harmony with nature until a certain group of people turned up with alcohol. We don't have to go. That's another conversation, right?
Yeah.
So I have a friend. He's a researcher. All he does is research Kava. His name's Apo Aporosa. He's at Waikato University. He's like a mentor to me. He's researched this, and people will tell all kinds of stories. That the Aborigines were mixing Kava with gasoline and drinking it, or methylated spirits. But he tried to find evidence. If they cited these reasons why, Kava has to stop in the Northern Territories because of methylated spirits being mixed with it. This is why it's being banned. He could not find any documentation in the public records about the reason why. It was there. It was being successfully used, as far as I understand. And they just took it away. Oh no. There's this perception that Kava is, it's not prestigious. It's primitive. These people mix it with their hand. It's just a bush root. it's not glamorized like the alcohol, the whole alcohol ad campaigns and things. And it's very misunderstood in the end. I mean, we see that all the time here. Yeah. People come past and they're curious. Oh, Kava. I had that once in Fiji. It doesn't do anything. It's like, okay, well, how many beers did you drink? Oh, we were pretty pissed. Well, yeah, of course you're not going to feel it. You should never mix Kava and alcohol. Or people think it is alcohol. They think it's a drug. It's like it's hallucinogenic or something. It's none of those things. Kava's the best way to compare it is to coffee. We go to the cafe, but we don't think, yeah, coffee time. We're gonna get on it. Like it's not that approach. You have coffee, you start your day. You're gonna get about your business, get some things done. Kava is the antithesis of that. At the end of the day, you've got some things done. You've made some accomplishments. How do we unwind? How do we shut down? And for me and many others, it's Kava. Whether I have it with people and just Talanoa, or I have it by myself and just reflect, it's still that it represents that downtime. And the other comparison to make is with this food standards thing in relation to coffee is, so they're both regulated as a food. I know they're beverages, but they're under the Food Act, right? You don't need a special alcohol license to sell Kava or coffee or any of that. Now, food standards wanting to put all these additional rules onto a food product is very strange. I get the one where they stipulate mix it with only water, that's fine. But dictating the place where you can, or the context in which you can have it is very strange. Now imagine if, because coffee is a very important Ethiopian traditional beverage. If you went to Ethiopia, they would have a coffee ceremony, very similar to the way Kava ceremonies. This would be like the Australian government, or I shouldn't even say it, food standards, which New Zealand is part of, going, oh, our records, our data indicates that if somebody ate a kilo of coffee beans, if they ate the whole thing, they could overdose on this and get sick from it. You probably would. You'd certainly throw up, right? So therefore, we are going to decide what traditional use of coffee is and say it can only be used in that context. No takeaway coffee. That's exactly what they're doing, because Kava and coffee are in the Food Act. It's no different. Should be no different.
You put so much heart into it. That's what I see. Yeah. I see you guys love the product, and there's a story behind it. It's traditional. It's like that heartfelt story about your father-in-law bringing everybody here. That's the story you want to pass on to your kids and the next generation. And that's to me, that's what I see. I see this beautiful story, that you want to share with your next generation. And, people just don't get it, don't understand. So what do you want people to do before Thursday? Because I'm going to try and put this up online before Thursday. Like, how hard is it to make a submission? What are the processes? What are the steps to filling out this submission, and how do we go about it?
Yep. So it's I've created a document. I spent most of the last week on putting together basically points, research-based discussion points, because that's what this thing has to be. It can't, if you make a submission, it can't just be like, I'm angry about this, don't pass this law. You should ideally put in research-based stuff. This is why, and here's why that is, my statement is true. So I've done a bunch of that, tied it in. I've put a lot of stuff like, cultural rights to Kava. I mean, as you can tell, I'm not Pacifican myself, but I'm married, and people say I didn't choose the Kava life, it chose me. But I care a lot about that, about people being able to not only continue their traditional ways of having it, but for the people who Kava culture belongs to, they have the right to alter that if they want. You know what I mean? It's like times are changing.
I know.
We have to change too. So I think for most people, I mean, in most contexts, Kava is actually prepared and consumed where it is prepared. That's totally fine. But it's the more, I don't want it to be about like, us, our business and this and that. People, even if it did pass, people would still come here and drink Kava. But the takeaway bottles got us through lockdown. I mean, if we weren't able to do that, we probably wouldn't be here right now. You said, I don't know that they're like, well, they're certainly not looking at us and going, ooh, these guys are getting rich off this. We have to stop it. But I don't know the reasons, but I think it's something different. Anybody who ever does anything different gets, I don't know, pressure in some ways, I suppose. Yeah. It's clear to me that somebody in Australia, in New Zealand, or somebody in both who work for these agencies has a problem with what we are doing right here, right now. They don't like it for some reason. And what those reasons are, I have no idea. Because the Kava space, that's the one thing I've seen Kava prepared and consumed in many different ways in my travels around the Pacific. But the one constant is respect, right? The Kava space demands respect. That's what we have here. It's inclusive, it's respectful.
Yeah.
You would think that they would embrace this more. But I was talking to my wife about it, and I'm just like, I'm totally mind boggled as to why something as beneficial and as peaceful as Kava would be targeted. And she said something to me that stuck. She goes, well, now you know what it feels like to be brown. And that's, I'm not claiming to know what it feels like, but this is an example of what brown people experience growing up in countries like New Zealand and Australia. You got something going for you. Now we're going to tear it down because we don't want you to be, we don't want you to come up. I'm going to suppress. Yeah. And that's eye-opening to me, and I can truly say I didn't grow up with that kind of stuff happening to me, which is why I'm so much more fired up about it. My wife is too, but she just takes it in stride because it's like, well, this has happened before, but we're going to do what we're going to do. And we're going to, we're going to put up a fight about it and see if we can't get them to drop this ridiculous proposal.
And my heart goes out to you and wifey during this hard time. And because I'm going to put one tonight, and I'm going to try and encourage as many people who support not only your business, but also just our tradition and that. But what is your key message out there, and like the most simplest way that we can get behind it?
I do want people to understand it's not about us and our shop. It is about the rights of people who the tradition of Kava drinking belongs to say themselves what is acceptable and what is not. There's seemingly no consultation from community leaders, from
not even Pacifica people,
cultural experts, Kava researchers, none of it. It was just an arbitrary declaration that this is the law change proposal issued by a white Australian lady, from what I can tell. So that's the key message. I want people to, because this sets a precedent. If this passes, what's next? You know what I mean? It's and on this topic of traditional, how far back do we take it? Traditionally, Kava was chewed, spit into a bowl, and squeezed out from that. Or some people might say, oh, it's not traditional for women to drink Kava, and it's not in some contexts, but in other contexts, it is. So is food standards going to be like, oh, only men can drink Kava? That's wrong. That's wrong. So the way to get behind it is I gave you all the links already. If you post those and also post that document that I created, It has all of the information in it that someone would need to. It looks like a pretty long document because there's lots of talking points. But if you read that, anybody who reads that will understand as much as we know about why this happened, what they're trying to achieve, and what we believe is wrong with it. It wasn't just me who made the document. It was a few other people as well, like Kava researchers chipped in. So the talking points are, most of them are research-based in some way. So it's not, you're not just writing and making things up. The submissions don't need to be long. It could just be a half a page or something like that, but just read that document that I made and pick out the main points that speak to you, put them in there, put some things in your own words, and basically that's it.
And where do you submit it? Where do you send it to?
Oh yeah, on the food standards site where they have the details about the proposal, there's a link that says how to submit. People will see it clearly if they go there. You have to follow that channel to do it, so you don't just fire it off to like anybody at food stand.
I'm going to try and do whatever I can because I feel like it's really unfair.
I've drank kava at literally hundreds of kavas all over. I've never seen a fight. Arguments maybe, but it's civil and just coming in, being a foreigner, coming into these spaces 12 years ago when I expressed interest in learning to speak Tongan and about the culture, and going to Kava for that purpose. The acceptance I felt, it's life changing, and I stopped drinking alcohol and just have a solid group of friends. I can't give enough credit to Kava for the things it's provided me. And
do they do it on a Word document, or how do they fill out the form application?
It's best to do it in a Word document and then turn that into a PDF.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the best way. But there's a couple of different ways. There is one you can straight email in. For that, I would do the PDF because remember, a PDF can't be changed. It's long.
Yeah. Okay.
But I think there is another form.
So it's more like a letter. Just write a letter to them, kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep. I think there is another form on there where you would like copy and paste, like one of those online forms.
Okay.
But I haven't. I saw a guy post a screenshot of it, but maybe he got there through other means. I'm not sure. But that how to submit link is there on the main page. So how to make a submission. Okay. And I didn't want people seeing that and just going in and making a submission based off of their initial feelings about this whole thing. I wanted them to look at the evidence, look at the details, get some ideas, and put something really cohesive together. Because the food standards are going to look at reasoned arguments. They're not going to look at somebody who's just angry because they don't want to be dictated about their culture. Yeah, that's an important point there. There'd be reasoned arguments. And of course, people who are coming from the culture, they have a lot of say in this. So if somebody, writes in and says, I've been drinking kava for 50 years, and I can tell you that things you were saying are you don't dictate my culture like this. That will carry a lot of weight too. So.
What about the powder? What about where you get the powder? They're okay with that? They're okay with buying it, selling it in packets?
Yeah, that seems to be fine. What they're concerned with is that when you put water on it and squeeze it out. But then most people, how far do we want to take this as well? Most people don't mix in the Talanoa itself. They'll mix in a bucket a lot, fill up the Talanoa as you go. Is putting it from the bucket into the Talanoa, that's from one place to another. What's their definition of place?
Exactly.
Very difficult.
That's crazy. Well, I really wish you all the best with I know that your submission is going to be the bomb and I know you're going to put everything in your power to make sure they hear you. And I think that's the key thing here is that our voices matter, and that's what we want. We want them to know that we care about this thing, and we feel it's really unfair, and we need to be heard and share our voices about it. And I think it's really important. It's just like a protest. I mean, if worst case scenario, what's next? Will there be a protest?
Yeah, worst case scenario. If we have some really credible people who are writing submissions against it. The world's leading Kava researchers. We have Chloe Swarbrick, people in the political realm. Mellow Downs is submitting a statement, trying to get Poetic to do it. The people who have are real personalities in the Kava world. If food standards was to look at that and just be like, we don't care. I mean, that's something really problematic with the way our society is. It's supposed to be a democratic society, right? Something is proposed. If people don't like it, doesn't work. Well, it's got to be reviewed. I really don't think that they'll just be able to flat out ignore us. Fingers crossed. But if it happens, oh, well, it would suck, but we'll still be here. So
Definitely.
we'll just have to be everybody drinking the Kava here. But people want to drink Kava in different places, different ways. Oh. And I think I feel bad for our Ni Vanuatu friends who come in. They're very respectful and polite and unassuming in many ways. And getting a bottle of Kava and taking it somewhere else is their culture. But somebody saying that no, that's not acceptable is like, what? I don't know. It's we'll see where this all goes.
All right.
But I appreciate your support and wanting to talk to me and the concerns as well.
You know, you're doing such a great job there, and you and wifey have an incredible heart, you know, for the people and caring, and we appreciate that. And I look forward to coming over and having a other with you guys real soon.
I'd like you to have a 4 Shells t-shirt.
Oh, I'm down, and I'll rock it because I'm rocking Poetics one, and you know I support the family. You know,
which one is that one? Which one do you have? What's on the back of it?
I think it's this one.
Oh yeah, I got that same one. That's a good one.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. And I got the independent state of Polynesia.
Oh,
if that was a movement that ever got going, man, I'm behind it.
Nice, yeah, hard out, same. But I'll definitely, and I want to get a bottle. I want to get a bottle as well. And you know, at the end of the day, who cares? Just sell it. No, just keep selling your thing. Like
Tongan styles, eh?
Island styles, like. So many people online that are selling weed that nobody knows about, like pages and pages and pages on Facebook, and they're real. They're out there. Like as soon as you say you got a 20, they're here. They're outside my gate. So to me, it's like no one gives a damn, and it's things like that makes people, that push people to go to doing things like that. It's when the law is unfair, or when things are really unfair, and it makes people feel like, no, if you're not going to listen to us, we're going to keep going and we're going to keep pushing what we believe is true. So I'm not encouraging you. I'm not encouraging you guys at all.
No, that's all good.
I'm just saying, you know. Thank you so much, Todd. All the best, and I'll see you real soon.
Yep, all the best. Thank you.
When we are fast forward.
Yo, ofato.
So please, guys, get behind, 4 Shells Kava Lounge and support them by putting in the submission. I know there's not much time, but please try. I will put a link up for you guys for your submission. So please support, fill it out, and write down as many information as you can to get behind them.